Good morning or afternoon, depending on where you are. Nice to see everybody. See a few familiar faces and a few faces I haven't seen in a while. We're still letting some people in. I'm going to kind of start today with some of the kind of basics, because I think some of you may have not been on this call before. So I wanted to share with you how we typically manage these calls. First of all, if I haven't met you, I'm Crystal Wallace, Senior Vice President of Membership and Chapter Relations at CAI. And I have with me today Emily Jennings, who is on my team as chapter manager of chapter support and development, working in Florida and nearby states. And we have two other team members that unfortunately are unable to be with us today due to other conflicts. So I'm going to kind of go through kind of some brief stuff you might see here on the screen. We are, this is really an open sharing session, but so that we can hear everybody clearly, we ask that you do mute your microphone unless you wish to speak, but feel free to jump in if you have a comment or a question. And if you're more comfortable, you can also use the chat. I think everybody's probably really familiar with Zoom at this point, but if you're not, the chat button is in about the middle of your screen at the bottom, and you can just click that open. Oh, and it looks like my screen for some reason is not sharing anymore. Let's see here. Emily, is it sharing again? Got it. Okay, cool. Also, if you could change your name in the box to add your chapter name, so everybody can know where you are in the country, that would be fantastic. And wanted to let you know this program will also be recorded, so people that were unable to attend can also view it, and if you want to go back and view anything, you are able to do so. Just a few discussion topics. I didn't get any specifics from people, but wanted to share some items with you. And then I'm going to take the screen down for us for a moment so we can all see each other a little bit better. But a few things that I wanted to talk about is just wanted to get your thoughts about going into 2021, any, things you want to share with each other about what you see going into this year. And then talk a little bit about some new programs and benefits that we've shared with the executive directors. Financial support programs, we have a couple of options available to us in the last few weeks that I want to share with you, and then some deadlines. So I'm going to go ahead and take that down now so I can see everybody a little bit better and you can see each other better. So anybody have anything they want to start off with to talk about things they're looking forward to in 2020 besides the obvious, getting back to in person, we all know that. But anything that you're looking at for this year that you want to share, or any concerns that you have moving into 2021?
Hi, this is Jenny with the Heartland chapter.
Hi, Jenny.
And hi everyone. Happy New Year and welcome. The old theory, hindsight's 2020. It's totally playing into effect for sure this year.
Oh, I hadn't even thought about that one. That is so true.
Well, you know me, the jokester. But I think one of the things that, our chapter we're really working on and we're really looking forward to is really putting into place the value. We struggle, and I don't know, other chapters I'm sure are struggling too, but we struggle with, a lot of times managers utilizing the business partners within our chapter and reaching out, to others, and then their board members are saying, no, you utilize this person, and we're saying, okay, great, if they're so great, let's bring them in and get them educated with the business partners essentials classes and things like that. And so that's one thing that we're really going to work on, and then also really showing the value of for the business partners, the importance of the chapter, because without them and their sponsorships, our chapter wouldn't be sustainable.
Yeah, really good. Yeah, member value I think is very important right now. Has anybody done anything to have anything planned in the coming year to show member value that you want to share with the group?
Our chapter, oh, sorry.
No. You can
Go
go.
ahead, Pilar.
Okay, thank you. Our chapter in Northeast Florida, which is Jacksonville, is where we're located. We are doing a networking week, and we're in the process of putting that together. I'm happy to share details. I can send them to Emily or Crystal, and she can share them within this group if you all would like to see them. But we have a theme for every day, and just really trying to show some engagement. And we are still in our area. We're just not really comfortable meeting in person, and a lot of different aspects to that, from venues and our membership. Actually, we did a face-to-face meeting, or the opportunity for one, in early December, and got some very negative feedback from some members, actually, like an email like, "What are you thinking?" So we've tried to address that. So in our board meeting this morning, we made a decision that we are going to reevaluate this on a quarterly basis. And so we voted this morning that first quarter will be all virtual, and hopefully second quarter we might be able to do a physical in-person meeting with a virtual aspect.
Pilar, I have a question about the networking week that you were talking about. So I just want to be sure I understand, and if I'm understanding correctly, I'm very excited about it. Is that like one day will be focused perhaps like on reserves, and the next day on insurance? Is that kind of what you're thinking? And it's on Zoom, I assume, or some kind of virtual platform?
It is definitely on a virtual platform, and we are in the process of sharing it. I'm trying to bring up my board minutes from this morning so I can give you an example. I was, 1 second.
Okay. While you're doing that, Brian, did you want to comment on what you're working on?
Yeah, I like the hindsight being 2020, Jennifer. That's it's a great theme. Hindsight being 2020, looking back, I think we got extraordinarily lucky in 2020 in that our conference and expo were held in February. So it's sort of right before everything was locked down. And so for member value in this past year, it's really been about maintaining those connections with our vendor partners, with the management companies that support us, with our managers in a virtual setting. So trying to translate a lot of those events into a digital space has been a learning experience for us. Certainly, I think it has for any organization, right, in 2020, but we are fully investing in a virtual expo and conference in April of this year. We're not going to try and wait till the end of the year and hope it kind of materializes. We're just going in with eyes wide open, planning on initial training sessions with our vendor partners and people who are presenting in advance so that they feel comfortable with the format. They understand how to maximize their impact with the audiences that come. So I think we're just demonstrating greater partnership in advance of this event than maybe we do on a regular networking or social event where someone just hops on Zoom and calls it a day. The board has also, at least here in Illinois, been working on a strategic plan on our efforts on a number of fronts, like education, legislation, homeowner leadership, and really incorporated some goals for 2021 that do maximize that virtual platform that we're all on now. So having those discussions, making sure everyone's aligned to what Pilar just said, reevaluating those on a quarterly basis if we are able to migrate those events online has really been kind of our bread and butter. And we made more personal outreach to our vendors in 2020, especially those that have been big supporters, making sure they're hearing directly from board members, letting them vent a little bit because everyone's business was impacted in 2020. But just, I think, showing them that we're a sympathetic ear, that we're hearing their concerns and we're doing our best in light of these weird restrictions, I think went a long way towards keeping their loyalty.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing, Brian. Pilar,
One thing that we,
I'm sorry, just 1 second. I don't want to lose
Sure.
Pilar's thought. Did you have what some of the conversations were?
So I apologize. I requested it from Robin. It was something she showed on the screen. It was not my board packet. I'm sorry.
Okay,
So
no problem.
hopefully before we are off this call, I'll have it. Thank you.
If not, we'll share it. We'll share it later. Just didn't want to lose that. Go ahead, Jenny.
Yeah, just real quick, one thing that we're doing as an idea for giving back to our business partners is that we're putting together little packets for new members, individual board members that sign up. And as you know, some of our top sponsors for our business partners, we are asking for swag from them. And then we are sending out a welcome box to new individual board members. And it's going to have, you know, business swag in it and talk, you know, about CAI, and then some information on, you know, some of the services and our programs and things like that. So try and engage with some of the individual board members, but also, again, giving back to the business partners.
That's great.
Hey, Crystal.
Hey,
if
Steve.
I could share, how are you? How you doing? Happy New Year.
I'm well, thank you.
One thing we're doing down here, and I think it's a great proactive approach. Our membership committee is comprised of a good group of people that are actually personally calling each one of our members. And they've started that about 2 months ago in November. And I think someone alluded to reaching out. That personal contact has been received with overwhelming positive feedback. The goal over the contacting our members is threefold. It's thank you for being a member, you know, to hopefully retain these managers and our business. We're separating it. We're contacting the manager members first and the business partners. You know, thank you for being a member. What would you like to see from the chapter this year, post-COVID era? You know, things you've been involved with and would you like to get more involved with in CAI? Then the second part of the discussion is, you know, we're talking about the education program to make sure they're aware of the PMDP program and so forth and what we do as a chapter for that. You know, and, you know, the last thing is just more of a housekeeping item is to make sure they're getting all of our communications, make sure we have the right contact information for you. Obviously, if you get a hold of them on their phone, that's great. But email blasting, email communications, and so forth. And those are the three goals our membership committee set out for. And again, it's been received with good feedback. And you know, they get their next meeting scheduled shortly here. And I think it's considering the amount of members, it takes a while. It takes a village, whatever metaphor you want to use. But the feedback has been very positive. People are very happy that people are actually reaching out to them personally.
That's awesome. Did your membership committee kind of create talking points or a checklist to go through all of those items? Yeah. That's great.
Those were those three. Yeah, those are the three. I educated a lot of them on the PMDP program, just to make sure they understand, you know, and what we offer, like our scholarship program. And, you know, we give money away for you to take these classes.
Yeah.
Know, but we're trying to engage with these manager members to become more involved with the chapter as well.
Awesome.
To volunteer and network themselves.
You know, I bet if we looked, those of you that have had those personal outreach, I'm tempted to say that those may be the chapters that have seen a higher level of retention, because right. I would think that will, you know, make them feel invested to renew. So, you know, I encourage you all to look to see if you can do that to some level. I know it's a heavy lift from volunteers, but I think it would be meaningful.
I have a question.
Yeah, Katie.
I'm sorry, I was a little bit late this morning. As you know, I've got a lot going on in Orange County right now.
You do.
Retention, is that what you were speaking of to the beginning of this? Because I was looking at all of the region, the 8 chapters in my neighborhood, and they've all decreased in membership. So I was wondering if this was something having to do with COVID specific, or is it just a general people aren't joining right now, anything?
That's a great question. We were kind of just talking overall, you know, kind of what we're looking at going into 2021. But as far as the membership goes, for the organization as a whole, our membership since March 1 to now, or the end of December, we've decreased about 5.6%. We attribute that to COVID. I don't think otherwise we would have had a decrease. But in looking at other organizations such as ours, I'm pretty happy we've only decreased by 5.6%. I haven't looked at California as a whole, Katie, to tell you if that, if you guys are above or below that. Our new members are starting to come back. And we've had months that have had really good retention. So I think, I'm hoping usually the first quarter of the year is a really good time for increasing membership. So I'm hoping we start to see that a little bit more in January.
Oh, good. We're doing some videos to try to get a sense of togetherness back. Because let's face it, everybody's tired of doing everything on screen. So we're trying to figure out, and if anybody has any great suggestions, how we can spice up this Zoom life that we have.
I would love to hear those too.
Yeah, we've decided, I have actually a board meeting shortly, so I'm going to have to leave a little early. But we're going to continue virtual until at least July.
Okay. I don't know if any of you, are there any attorneys in the room? John, Leslie, Brian? Okay. Are you guys going to the law seminar at the end of the month?
I am.
If you're not, it's not too late to sign up. And even, some managers may be interested in that as well. They're looking at some different ways to recognize people, and they're going to try to incorporate some music and different things like that. And so I'm hoping from a national perspective that we can get some ideas from there, because that's a much larger audience that they're trying to engage. So, those of you that are going to be on there, I won't be on the whole time. I'm going to try to pop in when I can, but if you see any great ideas there, I encourage you to bring those back to the group.
Awesome. Thank you.
I mean, if anybody has any now, please share, because I think we're all always looking for something better. Yeah.
Are you just looking for social events? Is that just one thought?
Pardon me?
Or is the question to have ideas for social events or education events or all of the above? Is that
Just
kind of
anything to spice up your traditional Zoom learning platform. I mean, I don't know. I'm trying to get super creative with marketing opportunities for business partners and management companies, but everybody's burned out.
Yeah, we did I would call it like bar trivia event, that kind of thing. We brought in one of those trivia facilitators that came onto the Zoom platform. We used breakout rooms and other things to kind of get people into smaller groups. So if you had vendors that maybe want to interact with managers, you could kind of spice up the small groups, so it forced a little bit more conversation. But honestly, of all the events we've done in the last year, it was probably my favorite, just because you got a bunch of nerds, there's a little alcohol, they're in their living rooms. It's as close as you're going to get to a bar feel.
Yeah, that's clever. Thank you.
Okay.
We did something similar, and it was holiday trivia, and it was hilarious. And our executive director, Robin Miller, facilitated it for us. And I would say, I think we had 12 people on. And again, in our living room laughing, we encourage people to sit in front of their Christmas tree if they had one. And it truly was, it was fun. So that was very engaging, and we're going to be doing that more. One of the other things we did that I thought was very fun is Robin wrote a 12 Days of Christmas kind of theme, and we had different people record video and read that section and show it on a sign, and then she put it all together and sent it out to the membership, and people thought that was truly hilarious. So we are trying to come up with fun and engaging ways. She also embedded a video within our quarterly magazine, which that was the technology that's out there is just incredible.
Absolutely. Katie, you have a great example in your area that I know you're familiar with. I'm not sure others are, but I think LA has done a great job at engaging people through video and posts on social media. If you guys don't follow Greater Los Angeles chapter on social media, I encourage you to do so. They've done TikTok, which they're the first and only chapter I think I've seen do some TikTok stuff. And it's hilarious because if you've not met Joan, who is their executive director, she's been an executive director for like 20 some years. And she's definitely, you know, a senior member of our community. And she's like jumped right in, and it's amazing, and it's funny, and it's engaging. And they've you do shout outs to people when they've passed the CMCA exam or gotten their PCAM or things like that. So they have some really great ideas. So I encourage you to look there. The other example that I'm thinking of, and I unfortunately don't know a lot about it, Emily, I don't know if you do. North Carolina over the holidays did their holiday party. They did like, I don't know, 6 or 8 different breakout rooms where each business partner did a different activity. Emily, do you know how that went? Or because I thought that was an interesting way to engage people.
Yeah, so each of their sponsors did a different activity in the breakout room, and I'm working on pulling it up right now to see all of the different things. But they had, I mean, all kinds of different things. So trivia in one room, and they had, I can't think of all of the things, but people responded really well to it because it was something out of the ordinary, and it was something that sponsors couldn't get engaged in and, you know, draw people in instead of them just talking and giving a presentation. You know, they could do something fun. I'm looking for it right now, and whenever I find it, I'll drop it in the chat.
Awesome.
Hey, Crystal, we did a similar thing for our holiday party.
Okay, great.
Breakout rooms, I think we had 7 of them. And what we opted to do is give each vendor an icebreaker question to pose to the people in the funny, to see how it just kind of took off. Instead of people just staring at each other, they all got engaged, and it kind of had a life of its own. The different topics, and sometimes you'd stay on topic, sometimes you wouldn't, but
yeah,
no, it invigorated the group, and it was, everybody really enjoyed it. It was really fun.
That's awesome. I love that idea. I'm going to drop Greater LA's Facebook page in the chat. They're also, I believe, on Instagram too. But I don't remember my password for that, so I can't look that one up.
They have a great speaker speaking in about 30 minutes. He's a former Navy SEAL. He spoke at the CEO retreat last year, and he was just wonderful.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So with that, you guys, I'm really sorry, but I'm a sponsor for that event. So I have to leave. They want me to check in early. I'm kind of doing double duty today, LA chapter and Orange County chapter. I look forward to these meetings once a month. You guys are an awesome group, and I hope I know I'm going to learn a lot from you.
Katie, you and I will check in a little bit later this week, okay?
That sounds awesome. Thank you so much.
All right, thanks, Katie.
Bye.
Crystal, there was a question in the chat kind of on a different topic from Lori that said, does anyone have any financial processes and internal control protocols? Also an RFP for a bookkeeper. We've had a volunteer bookkeeper and are looking to hire someone. So I dropped a link in the chat to our chapter leader toolkit, which has some sample policies and procedures. And if anyone has anything else to add to that.
Yeah, I know there's definitely samples there, and we're going to leave enough time in the end. I want Emily to show you all how to access that toolkit if you haven't before, and also our Exchange private online community for presidents as well. So those are good resources for you all to have. All right, I'm gonna.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. Go ahead, Pilar.
We just brought on a bookkeeper. So I'm sorry, who asked for that? And I will try to get a copy of that contract to you.
Lori in Western Oregon.
Okay.
Yeah, if Pilar, if you want to send it to Emily, we can get it over to Lori. That'd be great, very helpful. Thank you. All right, I'm going to talk about a couple of things just to make you all aware. We shared with the executive directors right after the first of the year a few new programs that we've been able to put in place, and just want to make sure that you're aware. They're more administrative in nature, but it's good for you guys to know that we have them. We have a nonprofit trade association called the American Society of Association Executives that we belong to as nonprofit executives. And we had the opportunity to sign up all of our chapter executive directors through our membership. And so we've added that to our membership. And some of your executive directors already are members, and we're working with them so they don't have to pay that this year, but that will give an opportunity for them to be able to use their resources. They have several newsletters, online communities, education programs, so it'll be a great professional opportunity for all of them to have that. So just want to make you aware that that's been made available to them. Additionally, we've expanded our Zoom contract. I don't know about you all, but if any of you use it for your company or are involved on the chapter side of it, it seems like you're always adding to add more people or add recording space or whatnot. And it's, $30 here, $50 there. So we were undergoing that as well. And we determined that it was a great benefit for us to upgrade to what's called Zoom Enterprise. And that gives us the ability to have multiple accounts, unlimited storage, up to 500 people, both regular Zoom and Zoom webinar. And we've extended that to chapters as well and are going through the process of doing that as well for this year. So if your chapter is using Zoom or wants to use Zoom, they can reach out to Kelly. And Emily, if you could put Kelly's email in the chat, have your executive director reach out to her to get that set up. We'll do that. If you're using another platform and you're not interested, we're not going to, sign you up, without talking to your chapter first, but it would be, it's helpful so you don't have those extra charges all the time and have one platform. And then finally, some of you, I don't know, a few of you may be aware that we tried a pilot program back in November to offer a co-branded, if you will, webinar between CAI headquarters and the chapter. So we had a program that was a half an hour of content by a speaker that we secured, and then the intent was that we were going to have breakout rooms by chapter. We learned a lot. It wasn't as successful as I personally had hoped, but we learned a lot from it. And we are going to work on that again. We're going to do quarterly programs that are going to be free for members and low cost for non-members. And the chapters will have an opportunity to have a sponsored breakout afterwards, either by chapter or by state, if you want to work with a neighboring chapter. To have people have a discussion afterwards about the content. The content's going to be, innovative, hot topics, current events, what's going on and how it affects your community. And so we're working to develop a partnership between the chapters and national, now that a lot of our content, we don't have to be in Atlanta or Philadelphia or wherever to go to these things. So we're trying to build that so that to help spread that content across the country. So very excited to present those programs for all of you and hope your CEDs find that helpful. Financial stuff, PPP. I'm pretty sure I copied you guys on the initial email once it passed that 501c6 organizations are now eligible for the Paycheck Protection Program. It's a little bit slow going on getting it up and running. Wondering if any of your chapters have moved forward with that. I'm going to be sending something out this week with a little bit more information, but wanted you all to have an opportunity to talk about it because I know either you get it or it's like a little bit overwhelming.
So this is Mark over in Arizona.
Hey, Mark.
Our AED has been very good about getting that all in place, so we're ready as soon as it came available. So we jumped right on it. I haven't checked with her recently to see if it's gone through. I know it's been slow out of the gate, but we got our paperwork in quickly. So we'll see how it does for us.
The final application, which is, from my understanding, I haven't compared it directly, but is very similar to the old one, was just dropped on Monday, but I bet stuff was pre-filled out, Mark, by your CED. From my understanding, it's a slow rollout to make sure that it gets to organizations that really need the money. I'm sure you've heard in the news with the previous one, there were companies that some may not think should have qualified for that. So they're trying to prevent that from happening. So if your chapter has not inquired and are interested in inquiring, I suggest talking to a very local bank. I know some of the chapters have told me that like they bank with a larger company like Bank of America or Chase or something like that, and they're really struggling to get somebody to pay attention. Those banks are not going to have the program as early as your local, local bank of Schaumburg or whatever, some small town type bank. So make sure you look at those. Another thing to keep in mind is how your employees are paid or employee is paid. This is available to organizations that have direct employees and have a payroll. So if your employees get a W-2, you are eligible under that. If they are 1099 employees, they're independent contractors, so they need to file on their own outside of the chapter. And if you have an association management company that has multiple clients, that will not be on behalf of the chapter. That will need to go through the company as the company pays that employee. You have to have payroll. So those are the basics. Another recommendation, I've talked to a few CAI members that applied and did receive funding in the first round. And one piece of advice they gave us, and Mark, I think Kate has already done this, is set up a separate account to receive the funds so that you can monitor where that money's spent. So when it comes time for forgiveness, which is very possible, that you can very, very easily show this went to payroll, this went to other qualifying expenses. Other insight from anybody or questions? If you have W-2 employees, I highly encourage you to look at it because it is a potential funding source. Okay. The other financial program that we recently launched was a financial grant for chapters that are struggling financially due to the pandemic, and it's open through June, as I anticipate that chapters are still going to struggle through the next several months. And these are for chapters that are struggling to meet basic expenses. We know everybody has struggled and we'd love to help everybody, but we needed to kind of triage, if you will, and be able to find a way to help those that were unable to pay their staff or their leases or things like that. If you do fall into that category, make sure, if you haven't received that information, you reach out to me and I'm happy to help provide you that so that we can put you in the application pool for that. Either now or months from now if things continue to affect the chapter negatively. Hey, you guys got really quiet. I'm tired of hearing myself talk.
Completely unrelated, since you want to hear someone else talk, is there any update on the conference?
Oh, I was waiting for somebody to ask that. Thank you, Steve. The answer is no, simply. But right now, our annual conference is scheduled for the first week of May in Las Vegas at Caesars Palace. As many of you know, if you've attended in the past, that's one of our most well-attended venues. So we're looking forward to being in Vegas as soon as it is safe. Right now, our meetings team and our CEO are talking to Caesars to see what we can do for either spacing out a little bit more, hosting a hybrid event, perhaps changing the date, and then also considering, do we go completely virtual? And they're hoping to have a decision, which I know, Steve, we all want to go. We all want to go somewhere. You know, so they're looking at all options right now. From my understanding, there was a call with Caesars a week or so ago. So they definitely are, you know, negotiating with them to see what we can do to make it work. Keeping in mind everybody's safety. I expect an update probably within the next 30 days, hopefully sooner. If you are planning to go though, there is no harm in making a hotel reservation. You can always cancel those. You know, so, you know, we'll be able to move all of those if needed. I wouldn't book your flight yet though. And I can't wait to see everybody in person when it's okay to do so.
Yeah, that's one great thing about these meetings I've been attending the last couple of months is, you know, I get put names with faces, and now when I see you guys in person, I'll be like, hey, where do I know you from? Oh, that's it.
Yeah, from a Zoom call.
Yeah.
Yep. No, I agree. It's, you know, as I've mentioned before on these calls for some of you who have been on previously, is in the past, and this still holds true, we have a lot of regular contact with the executive directors because they're kind of the continuity with the chapter and, you know, administrative operational stuff. And the presidents, our interaction is typically at conference when you're president-elect, and then if we visit your chapter to attend an event or do strategic planning or something, and that's kind of it. So, you know, this has really given us an opportunity to get to know our volunteer leaders a little bit better, and I think many of you have built relationships with each other to, you know, contact each other, which I think is very helpful. And for those of you who are new to these calls, I hope that you will see that in the coming months too. We'll continue these as long as people are interested in doing it. Even when we go back, if people are interested in doing it, we can still continue. All right, Emily, I'm gonna turn it over to you. I want Emily to share a couple of tools with you. And Emily, if you wouldn't mind also talking about a couple of upcoming deadlines too.
Sure. So first I'll talk about the deadlines. So we have our CED of the year and our Rising Star Award nominations are due January 31st. So if you have a CED that you would like to nominate for one of those awards, please do so. You can see, I put in the weekly email, what you need to do. Basically, you need to submit in writing why that person would be deserving of that award. Please keep in mind, we do look at interactions and involvement they have with CAI headquarters as well, and their involvement with us. So please keep that in mind, but you will just send those directly to me and I will drop my email address in the chat there so you have that. Also, the awards for the chapters are due February 12th, and your chapter executive director has all of the submission information for that. So we're really looking at programs and things that you guys did in 2020 that were innovative. We know you guys did a lot of awesome things, and we want to be able to reward you for those. So be sure that you guys are submitting for those awards. And again, those will be due February 12th. Any questions on those? I'm going to drop my email address in the chat right now so you have that. All right. I'm going to share my screen now and share with you some resources that are available to you. First of all, actually, I want to see all of you because I do want to ask this question because I'm curious all the time. By show of hands, and don't be afraid to say, how many of you guys have used our chapter leader toolkit before or even know what I'm talking about? Yay, thank you. There's a couple of you. All right, so I'm going to show you the Chapter Leader Toolkit that has a ton of great resources for you. So when you go on to the caionline.org website and you go to the main page, you're going to click on Chapters right here. And then you're going to go to the Chapter Leader Toolkit. And this is going to take you to a page that has a lot of great resources. So I'm not going to go over every single thing, but I do want to point out a couple of things that you might find useful. So we've been doing a series of webinars called Chapter Knowledge Series. You can find all of that information here with links to the recordings. We also have lots of coronavirus resources. One of the things that I think it was Lori that was asking earlier was about some policies and procedures, and we have those here under the chapter operational resources. Another great one is the CED resources. So this has job descriptions, performance review sample. This has the salary survey that we've done the last few years, and lots of board and committee resources here. So if you are looking for something, it's probably here. And I would encourage you guys to definitely use this, you know, in all your spare time, if you know, go through and just look at what's offered. So
can I add a comment to, or two comments actually? One, you do need to be logged into the website to access this, and it's accessible for executive directors, presidents, and president-elects. Your incoming president-elects, we're just getting them in the system now, so they may not have access yet, but they will soon. Also, if you see anything on there that you have a great sample for, feel free to send that over to us, and we'd love to add that to it. Or if you see something that's missing, we're always looking to add to it. If you're looking for a sample on something, let us know, and we'll try to either develop something or find something from another chapter.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Crystal. Do you guys have any questions on that tool? All right, so the next thing I want to show you guys is the exchange. And this is a place that you guys can ask questions of each other, share great ideas, basically carrying what you're doing today over. And this is a great tool that you could use for that. So what you'll do is you'll go to exchange.caionline.org, or it's accessible from the main website, and go to communities and my communities. And this is going to show you all of the communities that you're a member of. So you'll have the CAI members open forum. So I'm sure you guys are all aware of that. You'll have the chapter presidents forum, and you'll also have the legislative action committees. You guys are a part of that as well. So you may have others if you're a part of other groups, but those are the three main ones that you should for sure have. So I do want to highlight this chapter presidents page, because unfortunately we don't get a lot of action on it. You can see I'm the one that's posted weekly for the last little bit. And so I do give you guys weekly updates, but I really encourage you guys to use this. The question that Lori had earlier about the bookkeeper or a policy is a great example of something that you would want to post on here. So all you do if you want to post a question is you press add here, and you put in a subject and put in your content and hit post. And this is going to go to all of you. And so hopefully people will respond back. That's the other thing I wanted to say is when people, you know, post a question, please respond back because they're really looking for assistance and help. One of the other things, go ahead.
I'm sorry, are you able to attach a document there? I was looking for a paperclip, I didn't see it.
Yes, you are. There's a place at the bottom, right here, add attachment.
Oh, there it is. Okay.
Yep, and all of those attachments are going to go into the library, so they're easily searchable. So up here, there's a library as well, and you can search for documents and all of that good stuff. One thing I do want to point out to you guys is that you can change your settings on all of these different groups. So you can either say that you want real time, you want to receive updates in real time. So if someone posts something, you'll get an email right then. Or you can do a daily digest. So I personally, on the chapter president one, like to have, actually, I'm glad I clicked on this because I want it to be real time. So anytime you guys post something, I want to receive it. So you can change your preferences as well. I wouldn't recommend doing that on the members open forum. Do a daily digest because that could get really obnoxious during the day. But I highly encourage you guys to use this. It will be really helpful to you guys. Are there any questions on that?
Awesome. Thank you, Emily.
You're welcome.
All right. So I have this scheduled for 45 minutes, and I did that intentionally, knowing some days we might just go 30 minutes because we don't have a long to talk about, and sometimes we might go a full hour, but we're just at the 45-minute mark. So wanted to make sure that if anybody had anything they specifically wanted to talk about or any questions that they have, that we get those addressed today.
I don't have any specific questions, just a thank you. And then also, as soon as I get the information in my hand about our networking week, I'll send it over to Emily and she can share it with the group. Well, actually, I do have a question. Is there a directory with contact information for the chapter presidents? I know there's a directory.
There's two things. One is in the exchange that you can click on, I forget what it's called, participants maybe, Emily. So that will show and you can message directly from there. Or on our website, that chapter page that Emily went to, it's caionline.org/chapters. You can look on there by chapter to find the president. It lists both the presidents and the executive director for each chapter. And
yeah,
that's updated.
On the LAC, it doesn't have contact information, it just has names. So
yep.
maybe
on the chapter one, we do have, Emily, if you can click on a chapter, she's going there now, it'll show you what's available there. So you'll see it has the chapter address and information, the president and the executive director listed. Great. Okay, are we all ready for 2021? Go team, go. It's going to be a good year. Yeah.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everybody, for participating. And
I still have my clapper from the over the summer.
I have mine too.
I'll have to find mine.
We just used it the other day in one of our board meetings, and it was pretty funny. We had 3 people clapping.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, thank you.
I my sunglasses because it is so dreary here. I could use some sun.
Well, reach out to us anytime you guys need to. If not, we'll talk to you next month and look forward to continuing these conversations. Have a great afternoon, everybody. Take care.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.